entrepreneurship by comparing the employee life with the entrepreneur life, and also gave us the 5 steps and 7 components on how to become entrepreneur. Let's take the session forward. I would like to request Dr. Prashant Pansare sir to conduct the session on future skills.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's really nice to be here. I am visiting Aurangabad after a while. Wonderful road, and I was quite pleasantly surprised. It took little earlier than what I had anticipated. But while I was actually driving, I was thinking, the highway has actually been super speeding. How about your careers? So in next about 30 odd minutes, what I intend to do is give you some reflections about what is happening in the world around us, why future skilling has become talk of the town, what it means to you, and while you are graduating, why, as they say in management terms, is that being good is not good enough if you aspire to be best, because good is defined as an enemy of best, right? So if you really want to be the best, stop being good. And that is the reason why, what are those supplementary skills, what are those additional or aspirational values that you have to acquire in this stage. And I was quite delighted to see your enthusiasm and participation in earlier session, where many of you are aspiring to do something more, right? Become leaders, whether it is an entrepreneur, manager, startup, these are titles. Grab and read this book called A Leader That Has No Title, and you will understand what I'm saying, because sometimes what happens is that we run behind the titles and we lose the essence. So I'm going to be talking about future skills, because future skills are now influenced or dominated by future tech. And before I come to your future skilling aspects and career aspects, let me give you what I mean by the future tech. And that will help you understand that why it is essential. So I have few busy slides. I'm going to be running them, so that we are being able to do justice to the time. We are already late. Now, if you look at some of these lockdown statistics, what has happened is that there was a headline in New York Times that 3 internet companies, Microsoft, Apple, and Google, 3 companies added $550 billion of net worth to their kitty during lockdown. And there were countries, there were companies that actually were closed down, they shut down, so many jobs were lost, so much of an economic loss and crisis. But look at these 3 companies, they added $550 billion to their net kitty and valuation. Why did that happen? Because while you were locked in the homes, they had invented technological ways. So today we talk about say UPI and a payment gateway, sitting at home or anywhere you're ordering a food tech, right? You are making a payment online, real time, using UPI and your digital wallets, the fintech, right? Now if you look at, these are digitally disrupted business models, and that has changed certain things permanently, right? And that is what is giving the rise and birth to some new business models. And I'll talk about them as we proceed further. But automation, digitization, it is here to stay, right? And it is going to be increasing more and more. Fortunately and incidentally, you people are the digital native generation. Probably our generation and the immediate generation after that was probably going through those transitory phases, right? Because for you, data is a new oil and connectivity is your oxygen. If you don't get bandwidth, if your battery is draining, you suffocate, right? That's how your generation is. So you are digitally dependent. Now, digital virtual way of work, that's not really a big deal for you, because you are quite used to it. Earlier generations were not. And that is the reason why this slide is important, is that there are several aspects of the changed world that are changing things. Now this diagram actually talks about a principle called the network effect. This has been borrowed from telecom industry. So typically, when you have 2 phones, 1 connection, when you have 5 phones and 10 connections, but you have 12 phones and there are possibly 66 connections. Right? Why I'm sharing this with you is that 5-6 years back, India's biggest telecom startup called Reliance Jio, when they launched in first 5 years, they have acquired more than 45 crore customers. Can you imagine how many connections? If I look at you, I don't look at only you as a face. Probably I'm looking at you from the lens of API. Oh, this person sitting right in the chair here is probably 300 or 3.5 GB data per day on this particular internet. Right? That's the way your telecom companies are looking at you. How you are profiled. What is your digital appetite? What is your data obesity? Your phone probably will not be able to hold the kind of a data that you are generating and aspiring, right? And you have a huge tons of flooding cloud storage, right? If you just think of it, Facebook, Insta and WhatsApp, 3 products being with one company, they control 97% plus space on the social media, and they know everything that is happening with you real time. A Stanford research recently that was published that every college going graduate during the class, every 17 minutes is actually checking the social media status. Correct? So understand, even if you are sitting in the class, so a speaker or your teacher should not feel so many sincere and obedient students are niche mundi dal ke, shant baithe hue. So we know every 17 minutes what you are doing. Now what happens is that when you get up in the morning, even before you brush your teeth, you need your phone because you want to check your Instagram, right? So we call it as a digital addiction, digital steroids, right? Or digital obesity. And that is how now technology world has defined it. So there are opportunities and there are challenges, and that is the reason and that is the context why we are talking about it. Now this next animation is even more important and interesting. So with the network effect, what is happening is that there is a huge explosive potential. Forget about the world economy. If we are talking only about India, and we saw some successful entrepreneurs examples that Avinash was talking about, and why so? Zomato is a food tech or a cloud kitchen kind of a business model, OTT. So now what has happened, earlier there used to be a linear supply chain. So you had manufacturing companies, production houses, then there was a supply chain and distribution mechanism, and then they were customers. So they'll go to the showrooms, look at the products, buy the products, consume the products. They will be serviced through the channels, and then there will be manufacturers who will produce. Henry Ford would say that we know what is the product as a car the customer wants, and we will develop it, and we will be ahead of the market and time. So you get what we build for you or for the market. Those were times 100 years back. Now understand that linear supply chain funda has completely changed to now. It is not from manufacturer to market, but to creator to consumer was the last decade. But what is it now? It is the content and eyeballs. The manufacturers have become content, and customers have become eyeballs with no loyalty. If I want to, I like this jacket and I want to buy this jacket is not a product manufactured somewhere, but it has become a content on Myntra or Flipkart. And constantly eyeballs are looking at options. And if I walk into a store, and I'm sure many of you must be doing it, though it is brutally cruel to the shopkeepers, you might walk into the shop, look at the jacket, ask what is the price, and he'll say $1,000, and probably in front of him you will actually open Flipkart and say, "Are idhar to 800 mein mil raha hai." So okay, इधर order place करते हैं, 200 रुपए का गर्लफ्रेंड के साथ आइसक्रीम खाते हैं, right? You are happy. Don't you think this is happening now and here? See, understand. There is a very famous book or a saying in Silicon Valley: have your meal before it is hatched. Somebody is stealing your job. This was the statement of American mother, right? Bollywood analogy में 30 साल पहले एक शोले में डायलॉग था, बेटा सो जा वरना गब्बर आ जाएगा. I'm happy that you are all used to our generation dialogues also. Couple of decades back, American mother used to tell their kids, बेटा पढ़ाई कर, there are children in India that are starving. After 10-20 years, when the digital India revolution started happening, American mother would tell their kids, बेटा पढ़ाई कर वरना इंडियन सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर्स आउटसोर्सिंग का सब जॉब लेके जाएगा. Understand why it is happening, and the crux of that future skilling is here. There was a debate that was happening with the famous management guru, Guru Charan Das, who has written the book called Fortune at the Bottom of Pyramid, and he was interviewed on ABC, American Broadcasting Channel, and in the debate, there was an American African lady that was actually, against the view. And he was saying that why India is shining, why Indian talent is so bright, and why Indian software engineers are preferred. And when that lady was fighting with him, what was her argument? She was literally shouting and screaming. She said, you are saying that Indian people are competitive. How do you expect me to compete with them? It's not a fair ground. Because by virtue of me being born American, I speak, think, feel, talk, write. Only English is a language. And these Indian kids, by virtue of being born in India, they will have Marathi as their mother tongue, Hindi as their national language, English as business universal language. Now these three languages are by default. Hence when they go to the engineering, they easily pick up 4 or 5 programming languages. And when they are picked up in any company for any job, whether it is Java, .NET, Python, they easily pick it up. How do you expect? It's an unfair world, unfair competition. How do you expect a native English speaking person to compete with person who everybody sitting in this room at least knows these 3 languages, Marathi, Hindi and English, and probably if you are again from a different race, you might know one more language or foreign language if you have opted for. And hence, it is not easy, very difficult for Indians to learn different programming languages. And your primary, secondary education system might be tough, but understand that is developing that competitive spirit in your genes even before you start your career. And at the same time, why it is essential and easier comparatively for Indians to acquire the future skills, because what is happening today is that these business models are digitally powered. They are in asset light and shared economy. They are asset light business models, right? Just take a calculation, Excel sheet and put it. If you want to buy a Skoda, how much it is going to cost you? Fuel, maintenance, driver charge, parking, all the expenses that you will make on that car for 5-10 years, and put that. And then probably what are going to be your daily destinations, maybe from home to college to moving around with your friends, and to office, then probably office, home, so many functions to attend, so many places to visit and whatnot. And then put another Excel tab, what is the Uber or a auto fare, and then compare to. So what is your capex? What is your type of an activity that you have to do when you are inside your own car, you are driving, you don't get the parking space, you are fighting for it. Vis-a-vis, understand how Uberization has redefined your need for transportation, but it is an asset light shared economy based business model, and it is economically viable. Understand? But it does impact somewhere else in some of the economic forums, or some of the economic aspects, as well as industries, goods and services as well. Now this is happening everywhere. Digital wallets, cloud kitchen, you're sitting at home and ordering Swiggy, Zomato. It is so convenient, right? Now you are not going to the bank to withdraw money. You just have a 2-tap, maybe 1 OTP, that is also auto sign in. Digital wallets, Google Pay or Phone Pay. Understand, world is changed, and hence, while there is an automation, the jobs are shrinking. Understand, are we in the stage where we are like reminded of those Sheikh chillis? जिस डाली पे बैठे हो वही डाली हम काट रहे हैं क्या? Indian software engineers are developing automation applications and generative AI kind of applications. What is going to happen to the future jobs? And you can't stop it now, because it is now and here, right? And hence there is a shift in the skills. Why there is a shift is because if you look at this one, the future of work or a future tech is actually affecting all three dimensions of work, workforce and workplace. So the workplace is digital and virtual, and it is also going to be the physical, right? So as per new education policy, 40% of your curriculum you can complete that on digital virtual mode. We are ready for next pandemic and lockdown kind of a situation. Government has actually changed the regulations globally. Understand? So digital and virtual is now new normal. The second aspect, when we talk about the work, there is an automation, right? I mean, I just went to that industry shade next door. Imagine 20 years back, probably doing the same job, you would need at least 200, 300 laborers there. Now, 1/5, 1/10 of that are actually being, managing that because there is a good amount of automation there, right? Now, hence, the skills that are required are actually changing quite a lot. And what is the need is that how you are actually going to be looking at this aspect is how do you imagine or ideate, think, how do you sense and respond by learning. And this learning is machine learning and deep learning. How are you training machines, to think like a human being, right? The software is writing a code, machines are learning, and human beings are becoming jobless. That's the reality of today. But in that context, what I'm saying is, when you are gearing up, with your ideas and innovation, this is the world that you are entering in, right? So probably 5 days test match is gone. One day cricket, still has its own glamour, but the new format of the game is T20. Now understand, it is more speed and acceleration, and that gives the birth and rise to the newer business models, which are called circular economy models, right? Most of the entrepreneurs that Avinash was talking about are the companies that are in circular economy. So simple, Uber, for example, more drivers, more riders, more riders, more drivers, affordable trip, right? If you look at YouTube, more videographer, more viewers, more video creators. Simple. More buyers, more sellers. You look at Amazon, Flipkart and their stories. And then these are aggregators, right? So the content and eyeball are connected with internet pipe. That's your linear supply chain for your new age business. Now understand, for you to build up that business, when the software is becoming low code, the business is going to low ops to no ops. If you want to activate your, say, UPI account, you simply go on your mobile, link it with your bank account, put the OTP and your KYC is done. You're not going to the bank, you're not filling up the form, you're not waiting there, they're not entering any data into the system. Understand, eKYC is digital, virtual, instantaneously happening. Business is going towards no ops to low ops. Understand? Hence, don't think how people were doing their business 30 years back, except for travel, tourism, spirituality. If you really want to become millionaire and be in the recession-proof business, Baba ban jao, ashram chalu karo. That's a very good business, right? But if you want to be a technologist, then you have to really look at the changing world and changing aspect, right? And hence, if you actually look at what is business focus, the digitalization or digital acceleration. Now, and there are socio-economic impacts also. Japan and Germany are thinking about Industry 5.0. India is right now at 2.3 to 2.5. We can't afford to go beyond 3, surely because of our population. We can't afford to have that kind of an automation because unemployment might lead to crime. It might also lead to social imbalance. It might also lead to a lot of social restlessness. So how do we maintain that balance? These are some different challenges and issues. But you have to actually also look at what are your sustainable ideas, because today for the entrepreneurs and new age digital entrepreneurs, they make quick money, good money in 1 or 2 years, but where they are vanished after some time. And whatever they have gained or earned is completely lost. They are again back to the square. Understand? Hence sustainability, ethics, we talk about AI ethics. These things come in play. So when you look at it this way, you get the sense of your future, right? Now, if you look at this particular picture, if I would have shown you only two people sitting on a chair, you would have thought, are they sitting on a sofa or in a living room and they're chatting with each other? It's an autonomous vehicle, right? An autonomous vehicle, the driver's job is gone. Or you are not driving, your driving job is taken up by a Uber driver, and if eventually it is going to be, say, Tesla kind of an autonomous vehicle, the driver's job is gone. Now, what is more important is that because for a user, you choose an activity. So if you are going to office in an autonomous car, you can sip a coffee and read a newspaper, or you can take a nap when you are alone in the car, right? Now the user wants it, but the driver's job is gone. Now understand, when you are creating that kind of a digital advancement, it is going to have your meal before it is hatched. Somebody else is also going to be hatching your meal same way, right? And I'll give you two examples. One was Indian and another was an American. There was a protest on the streets of America in mid-70s by the telecom operators. And you know what that protest was? They were actually pressurizing the government, don't introduce self-dialing phones. Some of you might not even know tring tring wale phone jo pehle aate the na. So they said, don't bring in those tring tring wala phone. The phone has to be picked up, that gets connected to the exchange, and then we as a telecom operators will have our jobs. Imagine if that would have happened. Today we still probably would have been dialing phones, or then came in walkie-talkie and cordless phone, then came in a smart mobile phone, then a smartphone, and today you have smartphone 2.0. Something similar that happened in India in 80s. Bankers were protesting, don't introduce computerization in public sector and banking because we'll lose our jobs. Of course, if computerization was introduced and some jobs were vanished, but that computerization created millions of new jobs in India, and India became IT superpower. And from computerization, banking started adopting information technology to ATM technology, right? And at that time, some public sector banks said, we knew Indian, consumer psychology. Unless and until person is not sitting on the other side and counting physical money, ATM business is never going to be successful in India. ATM came in, it became reality, it became successful. But now imagine what this lockdown has taught us. You don't go to the bank to withdraw money or deposit money. You don't go to ATM. You don't use generally internet banking. You don't even use the mobile application of a bank. You are using digital wallet which is sitting on your bank account, because it gives you user experience on two tabs. So understand that differentiated user experience is being built on your digital experience. And your digital experience can survive and thrive only on your network experience. So now if you are thinking of being a banker today, you have to be a digitally savvy banker. And that is what I mean by future skills. Digital is, gone are the days where if you have a Java.NET skill, you are going to be hired as a programmer. Don't be under that myth. You throw a stone and there will be thousands of such people, right? आज भरती चालू आहे, सॉफ्टवेअर इंजिनियर ची भरती चालू आहे. Gone are the days. Let's be realistic. And yes, Avinash made that point that don't think that being hired, think like how you can be an employer, and not again a traditional entrepreneurship. Because all the examples that they talked about, look at their currency, look at their valuation, look at their turnover, and look at their head count. How many people are employed in Zerodha? Not even 100. And look at their sales revenues. You have to be imaginative that way. The point I'm making is that when you are looking at digitized products and smart services, look at their manufacturing supply chain. Robotics are making those cars, not human beings. Right? Human skill is becoming rare in Western world, but in India, it is an affordable commodity. We are fortunate in that sense that labor is not such a big challenge still in India, and we are on rise. But understand, our economy is going through a lot of different strides. I'll talk about that a little later. But when we are talking about the future skills, and you are maybe doing your mechanical engineering or automobile engineering, this is a little busy picture of a car. These tiny labels that you have there are basically the sensory systems that are going inside the car at that particular, for that particular product or component. For example, if you see there is some indicator and a label near the tire, means that somebody has already put a sensor in a tire. Now what happens when they are doing that, they are not selling to you tire as a product, but what they are selling you, what they are offering you is a safety rotation per mile. बरोबर आहे ना? तुम्हाला समजेल अशा भाषेत सांगू का? सॉफ्टवेअरचं सर्व्हिस माहिती आहे का? मग टायर मॅन्युफॅक्चररनी सेफ्टी रोटेशन पर माइल्स दिलं आणि त्यांनी सांगितलं की ओके दिस टायर इज नॉट गोइंग टू कॉस्ट यू 2000 रुपीज, इट विल कॉस्ट यू 2100 rupees and I have put a sensor there. And when your car is going to pick somebody to Mumbai airport and that driver is overspeeding, you get an SMS alert that at this particular speed in this location, if it continues in 17 minutes, this tire is likely to be burst. Your vehicle might be unsafe and accident prone. And then you are picking up a phone and talking to your driver, अरे काय एवढा जोरात चालला साहेब, आई शपथ मी एकदम हळू चाललोय. Okay, I know. Don't you think this is an essential, affordable safety product, even for his safety? The cost is not going to be much. A traditional tire manufacturer is not going to be dealing only with the labor. Now understand, the bank is going to become a digital bank or digital business. Even a tire maker is going to be a digitally powered. And if you are only digital and you don't have a business knowledge and understand, that is what is blending the future skilling. And I have a slide on that, we will talk about that. And this is an interesting slide that actually talks about what are such innovations that are happening, right? So here is what is called as a image processing, right? You have an image processing algorithms, and maybe you are going to Pune and you meet with an accident. Simply from your app, you take a picture or you take a short video, and what it is doing is that it is actually doing that using annotation technology in visual inspection. It is generating your job card. This bumper is broken and it is going to take 2 days to repair, 10,000 rupees it is going to cost. Who owns this vehicle? What is the cost? What is the cost of that particular job? And what is the portfolio of that customer? So you want to give him a free pickup drop. And then once, as a customer I say that okay, 2 days and 10,000 rupees I am fine with it. Then the app maker or that service station or OEM of a car is ready to sell this data, what we call as a data monetization, to an insurance company. Now you meet with an accident on the highway, understand the insurance surveyor is not going to go there. He will just seek that data with the image. He will actually do the 3-dimensional rotation of that and say that okay, I'll pay you only 7,500. Somebody will say I'll pay you 7,400, but I'll give you this kind of a bonus or this offer. Everything is happening real time. Now insurance company, if you are only thinking of being studying the actuarial science and you don't want to learn data science and artificial intelligence, there is no job for you. You need to couple yourself with technology skills and digital skills, and that is the context that we are talking about. There were a couple of slides that okay. So this is one slide about what I do. So we developed this Made in India software for data science and artificial intelligence. About 3 years back, this company is registered under Digital India Startup Program, and you can see some of the enterprise customers, some of our technological partners, and some of the awards and accolades that we have received. When I'm talking about the future skilling, how you can have the hybrid skills, and I'm going to talk about that in the next section of my presentation. But the point I'm making is that more digital means more data, and more data means more need for a data democratization. And one of the reasons why I'm here, I don't know what was the motivation of inviting me here, but one of the reasons is that this is the world where you don't compete but you collaborate. And digital is a team sport. You in isolation cannot be successful. So Magic has taken up so many initiatives here, and when I see such innovative, aspiring young entrepreneurs and innovators, we feel excited that there are n number of possibilities. Imagine your engineering project as a multidisciplinary project. 4 कंप्यूटर साइंस के लोग इकट्ठा आके लाइब्रेरी मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम बना रहे, those days are gone. That has no future. But if you are picking up somebody from automotive, somebody from electronics, somebody from electrical, somebody from computer sciences, somebody from networks or IT, and 4 or 5 of you are actually conceptualizing a project idea like a student startup. And if that is the way you do your project, then approach your Magic incubator. That becomes your first step to acid test whether your idea is worthy and whether you have an entrepreneur or you have an innovator mind. Entrepreneur and innovator are separate things. Both of them are expected to be complementing to each other. But understand, this is the best phase of your life. As student entrepreneurship, when you are actually thinking about this journey, your risk appetite is higher. You don't have to run the home. You are not under debt. But if you do pick your problem statements and you do your projects right and translate them into the student startup ideas in the campus itself, and then you have a platform like Magic, understand you're testing your skills there, and once you have that judgment, then go for it. It is very, very logical. So when we are talking about the campus to corporate, I don't want to read these slides, but you can imagine and ask these questions to yourself, right? Probably these were motivations. Now your generation is aspirational for many other different things. Our generation probably used to dream, one day I want to own and drive a Mercedes or a BMW. Your generation thinks that traffic jam mein kaun fasega yaar, let me Uberize. Aspirations have changed. But at the same time, our generation probably still some people say that you have to work 70 hours a day. Your generation thinks if I work 2 hours in a week and earn through cryptocurrency and lead a happy life, why not? Understand, the aspirational values have changed. Probably you don't want to dress like as if you're going to the office and 8 hours there. You may want to do something different for your fitness, right? Millennial psychology and gig economy is how industry terms it. You cannot solve tomorrow's problems with yesterday's approaches or yesterday's solutions. So these are some thoughts for your wisdom to think and imagine what is that you want to do. And if you don't change, change will change you. That is important. You cannot dream that okay 10 साल पहले मेरे बड़े भाई ने ऐसा कोर्स किया था और वो अमेरिका चला गया. That is American jobs are shrinking. Understand? Microsoft in last 1 year has sliced more than 10,000 people from their AI division. Forget about other products, right? People who have developed AI, Microsoft, and this is all in public domain. You can actually see. That's the trend, that's an indicator of industry. So because of automation, if jobs are going to be shrinking, how can you come out with innovative ideas? And that is the reason why, this United Nations and World Economic Forum publishes this report every year. So what you have to do is just type, United Nations Future Skilling Report and compare the report of 2021, 22, 23. And you will get the pulse. There are 60-70% of the directions which are common. But what is important is that one side you have digital skills and another side you have human skills. Digital skills are changing very fast. Don't run behind them necessarily. Today they are talking about artificial intelligence and blockchain and data science and UX and those kind of things. Probably 2 years and 3 years down the line, that will flip, that will change. But these are some human skills that we are talking about. Empathy, creativity, problem solving, relationship building, conceptual skills. These are rare skills. They'll always be valued. Whether you are working in a corporate, whether you have your own setup, you are an entrepreneur or you are an individual contributor, whichever is your walk of life. But unfortunately what happens is that generally people in this age are running only behind the glamour. So if I become a .NET or a Java programmer with this kind of a certificate, I'm going to be skilled. You're not a labor, right? You just don't want to be a cheap, sophisticated labor in an international market. Understand? Because that job will give you initial survival and initial opportunity, but when you look at 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, look at your career span with those 5 years milestones and then look back. There is no job waiting for you for 30 years to be a programmer, expert programmer, senior programmer and subject matter expert programmer. That phase is gone. The world doesn't operate like that. And that is the reason why these skills are very, very important to acquire and develop. These are some of the technical skills, but they are important only at an entry level. As you start maturing, the technical skills are not relevant, right? And I myself as an example, I run a software product company in artificial intelligence and data science, but by qualification I am a mechanical engineer, right? And I am making a statement, and which is an honest statement. You come to my office and I will show you our CI/CD pipeline. In our DevOps CI/CD pipeline, I personally have not wrote even one single line of code in our software. But I have a different value addition to my product team and a business. I have never obsessed and been chasing that. अरे मैं खुद अगर programmer नहीं बन सकता तो how can I run and lead a software product company? I have to think that what others can't do, and can I do that better and be the best at it? So that probably you need a coders, right? But you need a wheels for a car to move. But do you want to be a powertrain? Powertrain in itself will not move. It needs a wheels for displacement. You have to imagine what is your business idea and do what you are good at, what you are best at. And do's and don'ts. The don'ts sometimes are very important. Right? At the same time, if you like something and if you're a powertrain, but then you have to understand that beyond 4 wheels, you can't move. You need a chassis to mount the wheels, and then only it becomes a vehicle. Then only it will go places. Just by being a powertrain, you're not going to conquer the world. Once you get those basics in place, then sky is the limit. And this is not what I am telling you. This is what is a world of proven phenomena. That conceptual skills are very important. Technical skills don't run behind that. You pay some money and digital, virtual, online courses, you can buy those skills, you can acquire those skills, not a problem at all. You need to think what is going to give you a real life value and career. And this is what I was talking about. Right? In the interest of time, I don't want to go through everything, but first 25 years you are arriving. Right? You are actually finishing your graduate, postgraduate study, probably first stunt of job, whatnot. At 25, your real career starts, and on an average, 60 is your retirement age, and probably India's life expectancy is average 75 years you will be alive. Now understand, 60 to 75 is a non-editable mode of life. You can't change it. Regret or satisfaction, you have to choose. But what you do in that 25 to 60 is in your hands, and that time will start ticking after some years. And look at them as probably 5 years milestones, which is a direction that you're taking. Just don't make money because you want to survive. It will lead you nowhere. Because those type of stereotype jobs, and just are you living or you're alive? If you are earning for living, then you are just alive. Right? But if you're living with a purpose and passion, you will have a beautiful life. And that is what you really have to think about. Understand, I don't have a magic formula that, okay, this is a A, B or a C is a skill. Skills are hired. Attitude is hired, skills are developed. We don't hire for skills. We hire on attitude, energy and availability. Do you have a right attitude? Do you have the right energy to go extra mile and do whatever it is required? And are you available? नहीं तो 6 बज गए, गर्लफ्रेंड को मिलने का टाइम हो गया. Fine, you can't join army. You better sit at some tea coffee joint. Understand, acquiring skill, developing skill is not a big deal. It is few thousands and few hours. Don't go behind those shallow entry level skills. But the skills that I actually talked about, the United Nations talks about the human skills, they are rare. And develop those skills because they are life skills. You don't get a certificate for that. I don't get a certificate for showing my empathy. I don't get measurable creativity. Then okay, Prashant's creativity quotient is 9.5 on 1 to 10 scale. You don't get that. But you may know that he may be a creative person. So you have to think, even if you win in the rat race, you will end up being a rat. So the choice is yours, what you want to chase. You want to chase your passion or you want to chase only pension. The financial security you are anyways going to get. Don't worry about that. So on a sign off note, I have some messages for you that don't copy, be original. Right? And there's a famous saying on the copy paste. What word PowerPoint has taught us is copy paste, right? So they say in a corporate world that don't copy if you can't paste. And I'll tell you a very small story around it. So what happens, there is a corporate workshop, by a motivational speaker, and he's talking about humor. Humor is man's best friend. And you have to break ice, make friends with people, you start cracking jokes and you will make friends and then you can do good business with them. So he said, wow, that's nice. And then, it was a corporate workshop followed by a cocktail dinner. So when this guy is actually, talking about what is the sense of humor and how you develop that, people are also enjoying their drinks. He said, when I go home and I tell my wife, hey honey, you are not the first woman in my life. And the wife is stunned and he says, ha ha ha, before you it was my mother. And there was a thundering laughter in the audience. Kya sense of humor hai, zabardast. एक बंदा सेल्स वाला अपना टारगेट ज्यादा अचीव हुआ नहीं है, बास की डांट पड़ी है, फुकट दारू मिल रही है. He was high, went home and then he saw his wife and he learned something in a workshop. Hey honey, you are not the first woman in my life. And then he forgets about the next line, the next lesson. You can imagine what must have happened to him. And hence, why it is important that don't copy if you can't paste, but learn to be original, right? Second, resist temptation. As they say, neighbor is an enemy. You have to pick your career path. Don't think that, okay, this is something that has, one size doesn't fit all. What is your ambition? What is your strength? God has made you unique. Don't just look at somebody else, and if it is working for them, good luck to them. You have to internalize it and be realistic that, okay, whether it is for you or no. Talk to people, do introspect, do some chair thinking. And imagine that whether it is really for you. Otherwise, resist temptations. Be alone. If you want to be a lion, jungle का राजा होता है ना, झुंड में कौन आते? And learn art of storytelling. Storytelling is very essential skill because you are not giving information. You are not sitting on the other side of the railway reservation counter, dispensing information to people. Tell the stories about, what you think about what you think. And that will develop that empathy, creativity, and art of storytelling as well. And these are also some of the most important life skills. You buy a book, you have online class, in few days or weeks, you will acquire a skill. But these are skills, it's like brushing your teeth every day, right? It's like you going for a bath every day. The person and the face is going to be same. Why you do that? For your own fitness, health, hygiene, and self-reflection. You want to feel good. Not only not stink. Not only that so that others look at you a little better. It is for your own good. Right? So these are some skills which should be with you as your attitude, your integrity, your own self-commitment. Thank you very much for having me here, and it was wonderful talking to all of you. If you have any questions for me, I'm more than happy to answer. So I have 13 minutes. I have overshot my time. I thought we should wrap it up a little early because it's lunchtime. Any questions? All right. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you, sir, for the amazing session on future skill. You made the concept easier by giving real-time examples. Thank you once again.